Today on JD Cars, we're installing a new touchscreen with CarPlay on our Jeep Wrangler. Car Multimedia Intelligent System. Much intelligence. What's going on, guys? As you can see, we have the highest quality Amazon touchscreen kit for the Jeep today. Always funny to see the text and instructions on these things. But the reason we're installing this touchscreen today is because the stock head unit on our 2014 Jeep Wrangler here is kaput. As you can see, I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but wrapped the aux around the rear view mirror because our aux has completely failed. If it's not in the exact right position, it won't work, and when you hit bumps, it cuts out. Sometimes only one side of the speakers work, etc. And to top it off, the head unit is only picking up a few radio stations right now. Not sure if that's due to our antenna, but regardless, we want to upgrade to a Bluetooth touchscreen system with CarPlay functionality to make things a little bit more enjoyable. As a quick note, this process is going to be applicable to all Jeep Wranglers 2007 through 2018. And without any further ado, let's pull this thing into the garage and get to work. So before we jump into the install, I do want to check out what we receive in the box here. Pretty standard thank you card and contact card. We do have a nice color wiring diagram from the looks of it here. So that's nice. Our first bag of wiring goodies. So this has our main harness, antenna, and USB connectors. They do include some plastic pry tools, which is nice. And for the main unit itself, some more wires on the back of this unit. There she is. Pretty nice looking setup here. It looks very clean, and it also looks factory with these buttons. They're pretty close. I know it's not an exact match, but pretty close match here to the stock head unit, and it doesn't feel too cheap. Nice volume knob feel and tuner knob feel, and also a good button feel. So I'm impressed by that. Additionally, it is a pretty thin unit. While it is a double DIN height, it doesn't have the huge box on the back, so that's kind of a plus. We have two harnesses already plugged in, USB, antenna, microphone, and our main harness port. We only have one plug here on the back to plug in, so that should make wiring pretty damn easy. And we have a note caution. These screws are only for transportation, so we're going to pull these out right now before I forget. And we actually have a wiring diagram on the top of the head unit just in case you need it. It's there. Yeah, this looks like it should be pretty straightforward. I do want to speak to the CarPlay really quickly. Some units do advertise having it built in. I've had some units advertise that and it's not built in at all. I had to purchase a separate dongle, so I skipped that hassle. Bought the less expensive head unit. I think this was $200, and I picked up separately a backup camera which should mount up to our license plate bracket. And to solve our CarPlay issue, I picked up, well, that got absolutely destroyed in shipping. Hopefully it still works. This is the recommended iPhone dongle for CarPlay. It was recommended by the same touchscreen company, so in case you're not familiar, it's just a little USB dongle that plugs in, and it's by AWESAFE, I don't know, but got a little dongle for it. Hopefully that'll work for CarPlay. Let's go tear into the interior. So if I'm not mistaken, the only tools we should need is a 10mm socket and our plastic pry tools. We'll start by pulling out the little storage compartment here. It's just pressure fit. If you need to, you can use a plastic pry tool around the edges to pop this out. This is also where your power window switches will be located if your vehicle has that. Pulling this out will reveal your screw right here. Mine is missing somehow, but that should be a 10mm. Remove that. I was mistaken, this is actually a 7mm fastener in the middle. Next, we'll move our steering wheel up out of the way, and we need to pop off this plastic bracket here. Came right off. Removing that plastic trim reveals our two screws, one right of the steering column here and one left of the steering column right here. They're both 7mm fasteners. Next, we'll pull out this guy. Pulling that out reveals one more 7mm right here. At this point, we should be able to pull off the entire trim piece here. Also, for those of you who are going to comment about my dirty interior, what is a Jeep that doesn't have mud on it? Come on, you're not using your Jeep right. Lower your steering wheel, and this should come right out. There we go. And now we have access to the head unit. We have 4 more 7mm screws around the edge. Now, there are 2 little pressure brackets on the top of this that'll make it a little bit difficult to pull this out, but just firmly pull. It'll come right out and disconnect our connectors on the back here. All right, so we have our new touchscreen radio, and I've hooked up the CarPlay dongle here with our little USB cables. I think we're gonna run it into the glove box. We have this little passage right here that we can come through pretty easily. I think I'll do that right now, actually. Look at that, folks. Professional. All right, so we got that run through, and the kit actually comes with 2 main wiring harnesses. It comes with one that has 1 gray connector, and it comes with another that has 2 gray connectors. That's gonna vary based on your exact car. Ours only has the 1 gray connector here, so we'll plug this in to the gray OEM connector. Wait, what?
All right, take 2.
Take 2, because the single connector just didn't work for some reason. I'm pretty confused because these guys both have power wires. This yellow wire is our power wire, and we wouldn't have 2, but you can see they join right here at a solder joint. And a lot of the other connectors join at a solder joint there. I don't know, this is pretty weird. We'll see if either one or both of them plug in. Okay, this one definitely plugs in. And so does this one. So I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do right now.
Hey, when all else fails, read the directions.
Yeah. So we just checked this out, and all these wires are actually linked together. The only difference is this one has a few wires on the top of the harness, and this one doesn't. And if you take a look at your factory connector here, your Jeep will either have wires on the top and bottom, or just on the bottom like ours. So you want to check and make sure that these wires match up here. As you can see, we only have them on the bottom, only on the bottom. And then if we were to use this one, we would have a bunch of wires on the top part of the harness going nowhere. So I think this is the one we want to use. Snap that in, and we'll plug in our CAN bus decoder, which is this little box here. This should decode our steering wheel controls and allow us to use our volume and whatnot. Plug that guy in, get rid of this other harness so we don't confuse ourselves. Tuck that up there for now. And we have a few things to plug in. We have to plug in our antenna adapter. So this end is going to go into our stereo. This little guy right here plugs in to the stereo, just like so. The other end plugs into our factory antenna right here. And we also have to plug in our GPS and our microphone. Got our microphone all tangled up here. There we go. So here's our GPS antenna. Pull off the little red protector nub on the connection here, and we'll plug in our GPS, thread on this little brass connector. We'll probably lodge this somewhere up in the dash. We'll find somewhere for it. Honestly, we might run it out through the top of the dash, so it's sitting on top.
Yeah, I agree.
Plug in our microphone for hands-free calling and whatnot. Plug that in, and we're ready to go. We'll leave our GPS and microphone hanging out of the top. Let them hang there for a second, and we'll bunch up all of our connectors, stuff them back into the dash here.
No zip ties required.
No zip ties required. So take off the backing from our GPS here. Clean that off really good with some cleaner. And we'll plop it right down on there. Now we just gotta reinstall our 4 7mm screws. Alright, thing's firmly mounted up here, plugged in. Should probably test it before we put everything back together. So,
ooh, here we go,
here's the super satisfying moment where I scratch my new screen. Why don't I use a plastic tool?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Alright, hopefully this weird double adapter works. Here we go. Nice.
No way.
Well, I guess we'll try switching the adapters.
So, what exactly might have happened here? We're about to see, right?
Well, I was so focused on which adapter worked that I didn't even plug it in. So, let's make sure that the harness is actually plugged into the head unit before we try testing it. Take two.
Moment of truth. Oh.
Oh!
Let's go! Car navigation.
Jeez. Heyo!
Ooh, that's sweet.
Let's
Didn't even say.
speakers work.
Seems pretty fast.
Yeah, it's actually pretty
The response
responsive.
time.
Yeah. Common.
Beep.
No.
No. Oh, that's so much better.
Let's go! Alright, so I got the touchscreen fully installed here and I've had some time to play with it. It's not everything I expected. It is a good unit, especially for our 193 bucks. Amazon Prime. It's definitely a good unit. Plugs right in, comes with all of the adapters you need, and it's a great fitting unit. It fits in here better than factory, honestly. Knob feel and button feel is nice, but to get into some of the things I don't really like that much begins with putting the key in. This startup boot screen here with the car navigation and little car graphic, a little chintzy for me. It's a Jeep. I wish it had the Jeep boot logo. And I saw in settings you can actually customize the boot logo on it, but it's locked with the password, and I've tried the basic manufacturer password 0000123455. Neither of them worked, so that's kind of a bummer. Some of the other features are also locked like that, just sort of annoying. The home screen here, you know, things are fairly responsive, pretty quick compared to some other units I've used. The radio, it works, nothing crazy with the radio tuner. The navigation, very interestingly, it takes quite a minute here, at least a minute to boot up, and I haven't gotten the GPS antenna to connect with any GPS satellites despite being right up here on the dash, so that's kind of disappointing. Haven't really tried the disc slot. I don't know if anyone's still using discs, but our USB adapter doesn't show anything connected to CarPlay dongle. I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. The Bluetooth, it works nicely. You have a phone screen where you can dial people up, a contact screen, recent calls, and music, and those, they all work well. They do exactly what they're supposed to. So if you're looking for a basic unit that has calling capabilities and Bluetooth capabilities and radio, this is a solid unit. The mobile connect here, kind of a fail. I didn't realize when buying this, but you can only do the mirror link screen sharing with an Android, despite there showing an iPhone in pictures, which is kind of annoying. So can't use the mirror link function, and that brings us to the CarPlay fiasco. So AWESAFE offers two versions of this radio. This one has this kind of basic car stereo operating system. It's not an actual Android operating system, which means unfortunately we can't actually use the CarPlay dongle despite their answering someone's, or actually multiple people's questions. 4 people inquired on the Amazon questions page and they asked if CarPlay is supported. Unfortunately, AWESAFE, whoever responded, was mistaken because as far as I can see, you cannot install the necessary packages to support the CarPlay dongle. Therefore, I'm returning this unit and we're going to be swapping it out because the CarPlay functionality is really important to me when we go to sell this in a couple weeks. I want to be able to offer that feature. Aside from that, if I was keeping this Jeep for myself, I don't know if I would swap it out. This is a pretty solid unit. It has very good sound quality. Definitely improved over the stock unit, and the screen resolution and responsiveness is more than enough for me. There is a little button here where you can just turn off the display really easily and then just tap it to turn it back on, so that's nice. And then it also does tell you when doors are open on screen here, which is pretty cool. Definitely an upgrade over the stock display right here that just says door if a door is open, and then you have to figure out which one is open. It should also tell us when the tailgate is open. You have some ability to customize your home screen, theme, and background, but other than that, it's fairly limited. This is definitely a basic unit, but the install took maybe 45 minutes, and we have a GPS that doesn't necessarily work, but a GPS that mounted up really easily right here, and our microphone in the corner. So it's a clean setup and it's a basic setup, but it works. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a basic plug and play replacement that's not going to require a new trim piece for a bigger screen, and you just want something to drop in and work, this works. You'll have Bluetooth, calling, radio, and a touchscreen. But for those of us who want a little bit more functionality out of the CarPlay and actual Android operating system that allows us to go on Chrome and the Google Play Store to download additional applications and whatnot, another unit will probably serve us better. So if you're interested in seeing a comparison between this more basic unit and AWESAFE's larger 10-inch touchscreen, stay tuned. We're getting that unit in next Friday and we'll be installing it just as we did with this one. I hope you all found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on JD Cars.